Hey guys, Andrea, welcome back to the channel. So guys, this is my media channel as well. Guys, just finished a really interesting book. So it's a collection of essays edited by Helen Caldicott, and it's Sleepwalking into Armageddon, the Threat of Nuclear Annihilation. Guys, the research I've done for this one, I am going to hand off to some other YouTubers who've got bigger teams and researchers from me as well. So it does talk about Cold War thinking and how, as a geopolitical community, we actually think we've moved on, but we haven't as well. The Cuban Missile Crisis, and for those who are digital natives, please have a look at the Cuban Missile Crisis. Talk to your parents because it was a very real threat of nuclear annihilation as well. Then they go into the military industrial complex and Eisenhower's speech as well. They've gone into NATO treaties, and as well they go into how the capital in America, so Washington, feeds the military industrial complex and how the military industrial complex feeds Washington. So love him or hate him, I now understand as an Australian citizen why Donald Trump's slogan has been "Drain the Swamp." Because if you get rid of the lobbying and the think tanks, as well as what he wants to do with reforming the FISA courts, that conservatively is going to cut a couple of $1 million back into the budget. So that's enough to feed his really good healthcare programs that Robert Kennedy Jr. is heading up as well. So, whether putting aside whether his morals are good and bad, it does have sound economic policies as well as looking after the well-being of children and bringing back the nuclear family to the forefront, which people forget was a very communist tactic, was to try and destroy the nuclear family and therefore the extended family, and to get people propagandized as well. They also talk about Space Command, so what that Space Force and Elon Musk, militarism as well. They also talk about the military industrial complex and militarization as a spiritual sickness. Couldn't agree more. Guys, they do talk about the Manhattan Project, but it's interesting how Australia's role in not the Manhattan Project, but research to H bombs, so hydrogen bombs, is never discussed. It's quite an interesting phenomenon of saying that we forget about Maralinga and Woomera being test sites in Australia. They always conveniently to forget to talk about Pine Gap and Borneo Barracks and Kabbalah being signals as well. Um, they also talk about the nuclear biscuit and how that's not foolproof, i.e., Jimmy Carter leaving the cards at the dry cleaners as well. They also talk about Putin and the Arab Spring. And then they talk about like the remedies. They do talk about the Club of Rome, the College of Atomic Scientists as well, and the infamous or famous Doomsday Clock. So if you're into geopolitics, it's starting to get a bit out of date because they talk about Trump's first presidency, not him being president-elect now. So it was 2017 that the book was put together, but I think still quite relevant. They also do have anti-nuclear campaigns that are going on. Also, they go through bloggers that we think are independent but are actually funded by the American government or think tanks as well. So, guys, people who are totally and utterly independent, who are a great source of information, is Fifth TV, Joe Rogan, Decoding the Unknown, and the Y-Files team, as well as Lodge Law. I've always found them very accurate and informational. The only one that I've found has got any sort of political bias is Simon Whistler, but he does live in the Czech Republic, and so obviously he has a very different political view as well, because the Czech Republic is a former Soviet state. They also had something called the Velvet Divorce, where they divorced themselves from the USSR and went to the Americas for help, but suffered quite badly through what America wanted to do to them as well. But guys, really good book, interesting read, especially if you're interested in this type of thing as well. So guys, thank you if you've made it all to the end. Best way you can support the channel and my main channel is to subscribe. Guys, also got the research up on the Patreon as of recording as well, and guys, as I said, best way to support me is completely free, is if you can hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, if you've got a few bucks to throw my way on Patreon, really does help the channel to grow and for me to hire an editor and a producer permanent part-time as well. See you guys.